Alright, YouTube, there is currently a petition circulating to get Antifa declared as a domestic terrorist organization. Like I said in my prior video, I do not believe in any way in censoring any ideology. But real world action and ideology are two different things. For instance, you're in the alt-right. You believe in traditionalism, you want, closed borders and deportation. That's fine. You have every right to speak that way. You have every right to do so in the real world on the internet. You have every right to organize in favor of such a movement. But if you were to attack an immigrant and say, oh, dirty Pedro, you're going back across the border, and you start beating him up and dragging him towards the wall or something, that would be illegal. It would be unconscionable. It'd be indefensible in a legal sense, at least. It would be retarded. It would make you a fucking tard. So you got to keep that in mind. The ideology of Antifa, as in, oh, well, anything approaching state-level organization is fascism, and we want total chaos because we want to be in charge with our messiah, George Soros. If you want to worship George Soros' flaccid old man modeled penis, that's fine by me. But when you start beating people in the streets, breaking windows, and so forth, not so much. You got to understand, they're not fighting against the government right now. If they were fighting against the government, against the police state, establishment, whatever you want to fucking term it, that would be defensible. You'd say, okay, they're a revolutionary group. They simply happen to be far left. But that's not what they're fucking doing. You think any of the individuals that were attacked at UC Berkeley, do you think any of them were government officials? No, they're just fucking nerds sitting on the street. That one girl there with the Bitcoin hat and stuff getting beaten into the ground, the dude who got hit with shovels, all the commercial dealers in the region that got windows broken out, smoke damage, the campus itself starting a big ass raging inferno right next to this fucking convention hall or whatever the hell it was. That building's gonna need a good scrubbing too. By the way, all you UC Berkeley students, can't wait to see you have to pony up extra money to have to undergo the cleanup that's gonna take place on campus. Yeah, but your college didn't tell you, oh, sorry, you have to pay $100 extra tuition next semester, but it's for the best. We had to pick up the damage from this group of orangutans that rampaged across our campus, half of which were students that really should get kicked out of UC Berkeley altogether for participating in that crap in the first place. Here's my thoughts. Antifa should be declared a domestic terrorist organization. Because under the definition of terrorism, as it's defined, let alone the fact that I have my reservations about even using the label at all, under the legal definitions actually given, Antifa certainly is attempting to use violence and intimidation to suppress people's natural rights within this country. They've devolved from a group that maybe once long ago in a blue moon said, oh yeah, free speech, into a group that thinks that free speech means the right to keep others from speaking, that free expression means the right to keep others from expressing, that freedom of assembly means the right to keep others from assembling. That's not the case. That's actually the opposite of truth. What they mean is the freedom to speak, to express, to assemble. That's all it means. If you want to hold a counter demonstration against somebody that you don't like, be my guest. You want to go through... by the way, I don't think people should have to get a permit or pay a fee to hold a march, to hold a rally. That's fucking retarded. That is unconstitutional. But if you're holding one and you march a bunch of people down the street and start attacking others for their views that happen to be opposed to yours in some imaginary way, that doesn't fall under the right to protest. That falls under you're breaking the law. You're also violating other people's rights. And therein lies the difference. I don't see Milo going out into the street and beating on people. I don't see Ramsey Paul taking up his machete and going and lopping off the heads of communists. I don't see Molyneux rabble-rousing his fans to go kill a bunch of anarchists. It's just not happening. It's gotten to the point there are enough people concerned about this that they're trying to organize defensive groups to prevent attacks from occurring in the first place, which is to be lauded. It's something that should be done. Yeah, I'll sign the petition. Others should sign it. And the reasoning being, well, I don't care about ideology. It's their actions that concern me. It's obvious now that Antifa, at the higher levels of its organizational structure, is plotting violence openly. It's terrorism. Under the definition that we're using, you could just declare them a criminal organization, declare them a gang, something like that. That would work too. At the very least, the goal should be a response from the White House. The response, I imagine, will not take the form of actually attempting to declare them a domestic terrorist organization. That'd cause too much of a fracas. What's more likely to happen is that the White House will come out and say and reaffirm the fact that these violent hoodlums, yeah, you can defend yourself against them, and to warn police departments from dragging people in and charging them with assault for defending themselves, something along those lines. Local shop owners should be armed. That's another thing. By the way, if you own a store and you're in an area that's going to be within, let's say, half a mile or so of one of these organized rallies, a demonstration by Antifa or Occupied Democrats or anything like that, and you think that they might come in your direction, you should probably arm yourself and prepare to defend what's yours. Because you're probably going to have windows broken, you might get your business burned to the ground, honestly. If it continues as we've seen. Antifa is obviously using the election of Trump as an excuse to rabble-rouse. I don't think they expected that so many people would organize against them, though. It's heartening. It's good to see that the American people are waking up to the threat that is some of these fringe groups, these loony bin groups. They comprise a minuscule proportion of the U.S. population, and disproportionately a rather large chunk of the violence that goes on in these regions. It's like gang activity. The average person walking down the street with a concealed carry permit will probably never have to discharge their weapon in regards to another person. Offensively, defensively, makes no difference. But you get gangs, they have guns too. They use them all the time on one another, on business owners, on random people that they want to rape their corpse or something like that. And there's where most of your inner city violence comes from. Inner cities are hellholes, not because of some redneck out in the woods who just wants to hunt deer. That's just not sensible. It's not sane. So I support this move. Yes, we should at least attempt to get them labeled as a domestic terrorist organization. It'll probably fall short of that kind of response. I'll tell you that right now. But a more measured response of simply reaffirming that they are a bunch of fucking retards and you have the right to defend yourself against them, that would help the problem significantly. It would set a precedent for people to actually organize in opposition to Antifa, which is more important ultimately. If the government's not willing to do anything about this problem, private citizens within the regions affected by their rioting will have to do it instead. They have no choice. Business owners will have to defend their businesses. Citizens will have to defend one another against what has devolved into a criminal syndicate, and that's Antifa. So yeah, I support this completely. That's about all. Peace out.